everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this week's reading vlog. So it's just after 2 a.m. and I am going to share with you, I'm going to be starting the festive readathon and the Create Your Own Holiday Adventure readathon with, and that's Cat's Cafe by Matt Tarpley. This is illustrated cover for the festive readathon and the chef prompt read a book that involves food for the Create Your Own Holiday readathon. This is a graphic novel, so I should be able to get through this really quickly. So once I finish this, and I have no reason to think I won't before I go to bed, I'm going to pick up Willowdean by Katherine Applegate, and this is my anticipated read for the festive readathon. I think this is also no people on the cover for Phase 10. I don't know if this one is on Phase 10. Let me check. I got my computer in front of me, so... And I keep all of this in a Google Doc, because otherwise I would get completely confused as to what books have what prompts and all of that. Okay, yes. So Cat's Cafe is animal main character for Phase 10 chooses my TBR, illustrated cover for the festive readathon, and features food, which covers the chef prompt for the Create Your Own Holiday Adventure. And then Willowdean is no people on the cover for Phase 10 chooses my TBR, and anticipated read for the festive readathon. So my plan is to start with this and then read some of this and then hopefully go to bed. I've heard really good things about this, so I'm hoping I enjoy it as much as others seem to have. And I'm really excited about this because I loved Crenshaw from Katherine Applegate, and I know she has also written The One and Only Bob and The One and Only Ivan. And I've heard good things about those too, even though I haven't read them yet. So I'm excited to be picking up another book by her, and that's why it's my anticipated read. That, and I distinctly remember the first time I saw this cover and just absolutely falling in love with it. There was something about it that I just thought was so cute and pretty, and I am really excited to be able to dive into this tonight. So this is what I'm starting my week off with, so hopefully I will enjoy them, and I will check in with you all tomorrow. So it's Monday evening, and I thought I would check in. Last night before bed, I finished Cat's Cafe, which is legitimately a comics collection. I know it said a comics collection, but my brain saw this, glanced at the pictures, saw a graphic novel, assumed it was a graphic novel, and no, it really is a bunch of comics. Cat's Cafe is like a comic, like Peanuts, and this book is a bunch of the comics that this author does bound in a book, and I really enjoyed it. I'm giving it 5 stars. It was super cute. Some of them were really relatable. Some of them really made you feel. I really love this. Super glad that I picked it up, and now I'm essentially going to bag my dad to check it out because I think it's something he would like. And very rarely can I say that something I read is something that my dad would like to read, because he doesn't really read fiction books, and most of what I read is fiction books. So really love this one. When I got done with that, I started Willowdean, but I was really tired, so I only got about 26 pages in, which is sad given how quickly this book should go. And like, the print is pretty large, so I'm hoping to read some more of this today. I don't have an opinion yet as to whether I like this book or not, because 26 pages in is not enough to have formed an opinion. I also ended up picking up the audiobook for Slashing Through the Snow, and I'm now on page 118, so I'm making some decent progress in this. This is the third book in the Christmas Tree Farm mystery, and in those, we follow a woman named Holly? Yes, Holly, who has returned to her parents' Christmas tree farm after being left on the eve of her Christmas Eve wedding and ends up finding a body, and that trend continues the next 2 Christmases. Same with this one, and I am really enjoying it so far. I really like the audiobooks. I listened to the first 2 on audiobook as well, and that actually came in handy today because I did a little free library tour. So I had hit all the ones in my area except for one this week, and I went to that one, and then I drove like 20-25 minutes away where there's a group of like 5 and hit those. And I got a bunch of books for the little ones in my life. So I've got plenty of options for them because the ones I hit earlier this week basically were mostly stuff for the little ones, but I did get some for me. So I'm just going to hold up this stack here. You'll hear more about them in my haul, but voila! So this is my stack. I've got Babe, Stuart Little, Emily Winsnap and the Monster from the Deep, The Splendor Falls, The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek, Unleashed, The Bounty, The English Wife, and Summer of '69. So a nice little stack, some of which my mom is interested in reading. And The Bounty, it says the true story of the mutiny on the Bounty. So that sounds like nonfiction, so that might be something my dad reads. I'm not sure yet. I haven't really looked into any of them. Obviously, I know Babe and Stuart Little. I've heard of Ellen Hilderbrand, and I believe I've heard of Susanna Kearsley, though I don't know anything about either of those books. The one I grabbed based on name was The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek, because I've heard a lot about that on BookTube, so that one I'm really excited to get to. Unleashed is a series my mom is reading that I may try and see if I like, because I'll listen to those kinds of series on audiobook, but she doesn't do audiobooks, so having the physical book is handy. And then I knew nothing about The English Wife, other than that it was a book of the month, and I figured it didn't hurt to try it, because it was dark out, it was very windy, and it was raining. Perfect time to go to little free libraries, but I snagged it just because, as I figured if I didn't like it, I could always return it to a free little library or find somebody who would be interested in it. I think my mom said it's a mystery thriller type, so she'll at least be happy with that. So not a bad little haul, and that is how I've spent my morning, but I was listening to Slashing Through the Snow while I was out and about because my mom did a bunch of errands. We dropped some stuff off at the post office and sent out my Christmas box to my little ones who live in Florida, so they should be getting that this week. I mailed out some stuff that I sold on Mercari, and then we stopped at a few stores, and I will not go in stores, so while my mom was in the stores getting what we needed, I stayed in the car and listened to Slashing Through the Snow, and then we went to the little free library. So now I'm exhausted, and all I want to do is curl up in my bed and read, so that is the plan, and hopefully I can get through Willow Dean tonight so that I can move on to the next book for either the Festive Readathon and or the Complete Your Own Holiday Adventure Readathon, because I tried to do some crossover. So hopefully I have a decent reading night, and maybe I will check back in with you before I go to bed. So I thought I would check in because I realized tonight when I was looking at what I had last said on my vlog footage that I haven't checked in since Monday afternoon or early evening, whenever I filmed the clip on Monday. And I could have swore that I checked in at least once, but there is no video footage. And like, I film on my phone, and when I get done, I always check to make sure the sound picked up, because I've had videos filmed before and the sound doesn't pick up, so then I've had to start all over again. So I always check when I'm done, and I can distinctly remember, I feel like, talking about one of the books I'm about to update you on. And yeah, I have no footage of me talking about the book I'm about to update you on my phone. It's not in my recently deleted, it's not in my videos, I have no idea where it went. So if I filmed that clip, it has disappeared into the ether. And if I didn't film that clip, then I must have dreamt it or something. So, I don't know. So, I'm going to update you with all of the books that I've read this week, basically, because I don't think I finished anything on Monday. I think I had finished everything on Sunday. So, first up, I'm going to talk about Willow Dean, and I'm going to try to breeze through this because lots of books. I don't want this to be a super long clip. So, I finished Willow Dean by Katherine Applegate, and I'm giving this book 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. I love Katherine Applegate's writing. In this book, we're following a girl named Willow Dean who lives in a town that is not so nice to animals known as screechers. And she really likes screechers. She has a connection to them that the other residents of the village don't. But they really love hummingbirds. And they have a festival every year with the hummingbirds. And this year, there are no hummingbirds. And the village is concerned because they have no idea where the hummingbirds went. And then Willow Dean gets this gift from a boy she meets and develops a slight friendship with for her birthday. And this brings magic to her life. And she ends up having to deal with that and hopefully discover the secret to what is going on with the missing hummingbirds. And I absolutely love this book. I love the way it was written. I love Willow Dean and seeing her friendship. I love the screechers and the hummingbirds, and it was such a cute read, and it's such an easy read, and I just really, really loved it. And this is the second book by Katherine Applegate that I've loved, so I really think I want to check out The One and Only Bob and The One and Only Ivan. I own one of them, and I don't know which one comes first, so I'm gonna have to figure that out, because I really do want to read them, because if I love them both as much as I love this, she's definitely going to become an auto-buy author for me. So next, I'm going to update you on Slashing Through the Snow by Jacqueline Frost, and I finished this as well. This is the third book in the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries, and in this one, we're following Holly, and a woman dies at the resort and is found in, like, one of the toy collection bags, because they're doing, like, a toy collection, and one of Holly's friends is the main suspect. And so Holly has to work to try to help clear her friend's name. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a cozy mystery series. So much Christmas vibes, though I think the first two gave me more Christmas vibes than this one did. But I still really, really enjoyed this book, and I enjoyed this series, and I love the mystery. I did not figure out the mystery on this one at all. And I like it when mysteries can keep me guessing right up until the end, so this one did a good job of that. I also liked how it progressed some of the background stories, like the ones that carry throughout the books and aren't necessarily the main focus of that particular mystery, but like the threads that kind of connect all the books. I liked how they continue to work at progressing them throughout the book, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing the next one in this series. Then I read part of, I think it's called One Tough Christmas Cookie. And I've temporarily DNF'd that because basically there is a lot of God talk, and I don't like that in my books. It's not something I am a fan of, but I was enjoying some of the plot, so I may pick it back up at some point, but I could feel that if I was forced to read this book, and because I was doing it for the Create Your Own Holiday Adventure Readathon, that I couldn't move on to the next book in my paths until I finished that one. So what I ended up doing was swapping that one out for, I think it's called Love in the Scottish Highlands, which was another romance, which is what I needed to read for the Create Your Own Holiday Readathon. I needed to read a book with a festive word in the title for the festive readathon, which again was what that prompt was covering, and there was something else. There was a third, it was covering 3 prompts, and I can't for the life of me remember what the third prompt is right now. Oh, Enemies to Lovers. Enemies to Lovers for Mary Bookmas. And in the first book, you were having a guy that took care of reindeer, and he has to deal with the daughter of the vet who normally takes care of the reindeer, but she doesn't like reindeer because they've kind of taken over her dad's life, so they kind of butt heads, or at least that's what I was led to believe. In this one, we're following a woman who ends up accidentally knocking over an older lady on her bike on the way home, and the older lady gets injured, so she ends up staying with the older lady to keep an eye on her and help her out around the house because she has like a busted ankle. and the grandson shows up, and he doesn't trust that the girl has the best of intentions when it comes to his grandmother, and she also doesn't think that the grandson has the best of intentions when it comes to his grandmother. So they definitely don't get along, and they rub each other the wrong way because there's a lot of mistrust going on there. So I ended up reading that for those 3 prompts. Like, I just swapped the books out, and that one I really enjoyed. There was technically some religion in there, and it's basically our main character. And you'd think I would remember their names, but I don't. And because it's Kindle, I can't look it up because I read Kindle books on my phone. And, well, my phone is being used to film me right now. So our female protagonist works at a school, and she's working on a nativity play with the kids. So there is talk that she's working on the nativity play, but, like, it's not beating you over the head with references to religion. So totally fine with that. I can totally look at it as a nativity play. Like, it's a play like any other play. It doesn't necessarily have to be based on truth, so I can overlook that one. And there was one sex scene, and it wasn't anywhere near as descriptive as the last romance book I read, so I like that. I think, again, I'm thinking about 4 stars. It's really hard to get higher than that from me with a romance, unless you, like, nail no smut and none of the other stuff that I don't like in my romances, and are also a really well-written romance where I connect with the characters and stuff. So 4 stars for me is high praise for a romance, so I did enjoy that one. Next, I read One by One by Ruth Ware, and I know that this is a very divisive book. I know some people love it. I know some people hate it. I fall more into the I really enjoyed it category because I think, again, 4 stars, roundabouts there. I've seen a lot of people say this was boring. I knew who the killer was from the first page, like from the very beginning of the book. And there were points where I suspected that the killer was the killer. But maybe it's just because I don't read a lot of thrillers, or I haven't read a lot of these types of thrillers, but I was kept guessing until it became basically obvious who the killer was. And even after that, I managed to continue to stay invested in the story and wanted to know where it was going because I was still invested in the story and I like these characters. So I think this is the 4th kind of book I've read that has this kind of people are trapped in an isolated location and are getting picked off one by one by a mysterious murderer. And the first book I read like that was The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and I absolutely loved that. The second was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which is like, that's like the golden standard. That's like the book that created the whole trope. And that one was fantastic. I absolutely loved that book. The third one I read was The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, and I did not like that book anywhere near as much. But I also hated all of the characters, so I kind of wanted them all to die. In this book, there were definitely characters I didn't like, but there were also characters I really, really did. So I had more of an attachment to these characters, and I was worried for them. So I really liked how this book played out compared to the others. And again, maybe it's because I don't read thrillers, or maybe, like I said, I just haven't read a ton of these, but I didn't find it super predictable and boring. So I actually really enjoyed this. Then when I got done with that, I read The Prince and the Dressmaker, and I, again, really enjoyed this one. I've been having a really good reading week, actually. So in this one, we're following Prince Sebastian, and he likes to put on dresses, and sometimes he's perfectly fine being Prince Sebastian, and other times he wants to be his kind of alter ego. And he ends up throwing a ball, and at this ball, our seamstress, Frances, has designed a dress for one of the partygoers, so he ends up secretly hiring her to make him dresses. And she starts to do that, and his alter ego, Lady Crystalla, ends up developing a reputation, and people really want to dress like her. And this gains Frances' attention, but how can Frances say anything when she's supposed to be a secret because she can't betray Prince Sebastian? So I really, really enjoyed this book and getting to see that dynamic of their developing relationship and Sebastian enjoying this life that he's created for himself, but it still very much being a secret, and Frances getting this attention and notice for her dresses, but not being able to say anything, and how that affects everything. I just thought this was a really, really cute book, and I absolutely love how it ended and how things kind of resolved in the end. So I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm thinking 4.5, 5 stars. It's in that range. So, like, again, another great book this week. And then lastly, my last update for books I've read. I finished Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, and this book is getting, I think, 4.5 stars. Again, maybe 5. I'll know more in the morning. I typically don't rate books 5 stars without sleeping on it, unless it's one of those things where, like, I was just enthralled throughout the entire book. Sometimes I have to ruminate on it and make sure that those good feelings stick. So this is a Little Women retelling, but it is updated, and it's a graphic novel. But it is in no way a quick read. Like, let me see if I can find one. So they write emails to their dad. When Jo writes in her journal, you get to see that. So there are definitely pages of text, which is new for me in a graphic novel. And I really like how the authors managed to update the story. Like, this is still definitely Little Women. Like, if you've read Little Women, you're not missing any of the charm of the characters. This is a very good retelling, in my opinion. But I thought the authors did a really great job at updating it and making it fresh and incorporating things like emails and Skype and the differences in school and chores and the types of jobs that they would be doing and just the things they would be dealing with, like the stuff that would cause them personal strife, and make it relatable to current day. And I thought they did a really brilliant job with that. And there's a lot of rep in here, like a lot of rep. And I can't say all of the rep because some of the rep would spoil things, but I really, really did enjoy this book. I am so glad that I read it. And yeah, if you're looking for a really good Little Women retelling, I would highly recommend this. And then the last thing I want to update you on before I finish this up reading-wise is that I am on page 134 of Nutcracked, and it's like 230 pages. So if I don't finish this tonight before bed, I will definitely be finishing it tomorrow. And this was my book for red or green on the cover for the festive readathon. And I'm enjoying this. So we're following a girl named Georgie who wants to play Clara in the Nutcracker, like it's ballet. And she gets the part, but when she's holding the Nutcracker, it's like she's transported to a different world. And she's trying to figure out what is going on because she's seeing the Nutcracker, but like he's full-sized and she's not quite sure what's going on. And at the same time, she's got a lot of interesting things going on in her real, like, home life that are creating a lot of issues. And she's trying to balance all of the practice she has to do for the Nutcracker with this magical thing that's happening that she doesn't quite understand with the real world stuff that's going on. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I am not enjoying it as much as any of the other books I mentioned, but I am definitely enjoying this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this book wraps up and basing my rating on that, because right now I'm not sure. It feels like 3.5 to 4 stars, but it's all going to depend on how it ties up. So the last thing I'm going to mention is I'm going to talk about where I am in each of my readathons. So with the festive readathon, this would be my book for red or green on the cover. This is my book with snow on the cover. This was my book set in winter. This was my anticipated read. And then Christmas in the Scottish Highlands was my book with a festive word in the title. I'm missing one. I'm definitely missing one. Festive word, snow in the title. Anticipated read. Oh, don't tell me one of those is. I'll cry. I'd have to swap it out. I don't even remember what the prompt is that I'm missing. Festive word. Snow. Read. Red or green on the cover. Set in winter. Fuck. Please tell me it's not Secrets in Winter House. I looked at this. It could be. I don't have it anymore. And illustrated cover, which is Cat's Cafe, which I have finished and I talked about in an earlier clip. Holy crap, that scared the crap out of me. I'm like looking at these books going, what did I forget? Please tell me I didn't forget something that is going to be very hard for me to duplicate in less than 24 hours. Okay, so once more quick through. So for illustrated cover, I did Cat's Cafe. Willow Dean, I did for anticipated read. Slashing Through the Snow, I did for set in winter. One by One is snow on the cover. Nutcracked is red or green on the cover. And then I did Christmas in the Scottish Highlands for a festive word in the title. Then there were 3 that weren't specific prompts, and you had to do an act of self-care. For this, I went book shopping, because I really like buying new books, and that is something that makes me feel better. So I was having a crappy day and bought books, so that is my self-care. I had a free space in the middle, so I could really read whatever I want. So I'm going to claim Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy for that. Because I could read anything I wanted. And as far as I know, it didn't have to be Christmassy, although the very beginning of this book does take place on Christmas. And it ends, like, around the following Christmas. So if it does, I count this anyways. And then the last thing I have to do is watch a festive movie. And I plan to do that tomorrow while I wrap presents, and I will insert some B-roll of me wrapping presents. You might not see me, but you'll see the presents and probably whatever kitty helpers I have to help me out. So that's where I'm at with the festive readathon. So I'm going to look at my list for this because there's 12 prompts and I don't have all of the books in front of me anymore. So I want to make sure I get everything right. So for Merry Bookmas, I've done the Chosen One prompt, and that is to read a book with a Chosen One character, and I read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief for this. I've done Friends or Enemies to Lovers by reading Christmas in the Scottish Highlands. I did Small Towns, read a book set in small towns by reading Slashing Through the Snow. I completed Fake Dating by reading Written in the Stars. I got Close Quarters by reading One by One. And I've checked off Royalty by reading The Prince and the Dressmaker. So I think I'm about halfway through with that. 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, I have 6 prompts left. I've done 6 prompts, so I'm doing really good with Merry Bookmas as well. Obviously, I can't update you on Sprintathon because it's not till next week, so I shouldn't be touching any of those books. And as for the Create Your Own Holiday Adventure Readathon, I started with Chef and I read Cat's Cafe. Then I moved to Slashing Through the Snow for Small Town. And I finished it up with Love, Read a Romance, and I read Christmas in the Scottish Highlands. Then I moved on to the path of Royal, read a book about royalty. So that was The Prince and the Dressmaker. And from there, I am going to be reading The Guncle, which is my big city prompt. So after I finish Nutcracked, I'm going to The Guncle. So that's where I am with that, which means I still have Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters for family, Flashfire for single parent, Cause for Alarm for my exotic location, and then Secrets of Winter House for mystery. So I don't think I'm doing too awful bad. But let's do a quick check-in on my Phase 10 and see how many of those prompts I've completed. Because I know you can see the board back there, and if you've seen my TBR video, you know I had a ton. So, let's see. Let's update my lovely little list here where I keep all of my books and which prompts they fulfill. Helps me keep track of everything. Otherwise, I would never know what I had read and what I had left to read. So, I've covered Romance by reading The Prince and the Dressmaker. I've covered Animal Main Character by reading Cat's Cafe. I've covered Library Book by reading Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. I've covered No People on the Cover by reading Willowdean. I've covered Middle Grade by reading The Hungry Ghosts. And I've covered Pole Pick by reading Slashing Through the Snow. And my ambiance is shutting itself off. And I've read Last Letter First by reading Written in the Stars. So that still leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 prompts for my Phase 10 TBR. But if we assume that I'm going to finish all of the books that need to be read for my readathons that are happening between now and the 19th, that would leave me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would be down to 5. I think if by the 19th I'm down to 5 books and I have 11 days, 12 days, something like that, I think that's easily doable. 5 books in just under 2 weeks. So I'm not at all worried about where I'm at in my TBR. So this clip is really, really long, and I apologize for that. I would have rather spread this out into smaller clips, but I wanted to update you all on everything I had read and what I was thinking about them. So I'm going to possibly read for a little bit. I'm definitely going to turn my ambiance back on. And then I'm going to go to bed, and I will absolutely be checking in with you in the morning. I almost said tomorrow because, again, until I go to sleep, I don't feel like it's tomorrow. I don't care what time it is. So I will be checking in with you all again tomorrow. No, in the morning or later after I get up, and at the very least wrapping this video up because it is Sunday, and that means I need to wrap up my vlog. So I will talk to you all soon and let you know how I wrapped up my week. And in the meantime, enjoy my wrapping presents with all of the little furry ones that decided to help, assuming I can convince any of them to stay. They don't really like when I wrap presents. It freaks them out. So we'll see what kind of footage I get. Enjoy! So it is Sunday afternoon, and I thought I would check in real quick. I finished Nutcracked last night. I think it's getting 4 stars. And that means the only thing I have left to do for the festive readathon is watch a festive movie. And I have Jingle Jangle up on my TV, ready to go. I have, let's see if I can show you, quite the pile of presents to wrap. I have a little helper. And then I have a not so helpful helper. Hopefully you can see her, who has stolen my bag where I was storing the presents. Yes, hi Nuggie, I'm talking about you. So my plan is to wrap all these presents, watch a Christmas movie, and finish the festive readathon. So hopefully I enjoy the movie and the present wrapping doesn't take too long, and I'll check back in with you later. is 2:39 a.m. and I'm going to do my final check-in for this week's vlog because technically it is still Sunday on the West Coast and it is Sunday still in Hawaii, so that counts as doing it on Sunday, right? Either way, I finished Nutcracked, which I think I mentioned in the last clip. If not, I finished Nutcracked. I'm giving that 4 stars. I really like how it ended, which bumped it up from like a 3.5 or a 3.75. So that one gets 4 stars. That was the last book I needed to read for the festive readathon. And then, as you will have seen in the previous clip, while I was wrapping presents, I watched Jingle Jangle, which started off a bit slow for me, but I did end up enjoying the movie, and I'm glad I stuck with it. Then after I got done with that, the only things I've read are The Guncle. I am on page 34, so I will be reading some of this before bed. I am also listening to an audiobook. I don't know if I've mentioned the audiobook I'm listening to. I think I did in my giant, huge, hey, I haven't checked in all week, so here is everything I did this week clip that I filmed for my vlog. So I am listening to Murder at the Lakeside Library, and I'm like 3.5 hours in, so I have about 5 hours left. So I'm getting there. I haven't been listening to as many audiobooks lately because I've been catching up on BookTube, and I just am feeling a bit slumpy after the craziness that was November, so I'm reading less and spending more time like watching BookTube. So my audiobooks are taking me longer because when I have time to sit down and do stuff like that, I tend to have BookTube on in the background, but I am enjoying it. So in that book, we're following Rain, who returns to like her family's like lakeside cabin or something like that. It was like a summer home, but it became a place they visited year round when the tourist season picked up. And they're somehow tied to the library, and Rain is working to open the library, and usually that's her mother's job, but her mother's not there, and Rain ends up finding a body on the property and is trying to figure out how that body got there and whether it has anything to do with her family. So far I'm liking it. I'm still getting to learn the location and the characters and all of that kind of stuff, but so far so good. It's a cozy mystery, so I mean, there's not much more I can say about it. I'm pretty sure most cozy mysteries tend to be something happens, whether it's a dead body or kidnapping or whatever, but like there's the main central mystery that the main character has to solve, and then we follow them as they solve it, and this one's been no different, so I'm enjoying that so far. And from what little I've read of The Guncle, I'm enjoying that. So that has been my reading week. All in all, I think it was a pretty decent week. Lots of 4 stars. Like, nothing spectacular, but nothing that was like that I like really, really hated, except for one tough Christmas cookie. But I DNF'd that, so I count that as a win. So not a bad reading week, and hopefully next week I will remember to check in more often. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me nuts, since I don't think there's a nutcracker emoji. I mean, if there is a nutcracker emoji, leave me that one. If not, leave me nuts, since there's no nutcracker emoji. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!